An attack has been made on the Free Galactic Systems Council, based here on Homeworld. The Homeworld tribes were unprepared for this sneak attack and all have suffered heavy casualties. Fortunately, Tribe Tech's capital on the far side of Homeworld wasn't targeted in the first assault wave, and they managed to raise their city's proton defense wall in time to repel the second wave. Our attackers are the Rahuna, an edge zone coalition of planets. This group of warrior beings have been envious of the GSC's control of the planetary systems, and we believe that their goal is to topple the government and bring the galactic systems under their rule. Their well-documented savagery and refusal to enter into the Pan-GS non-aggression treaty should have been enough of a warning to make us keep our guard up, but we underestimated their ambition. Now there's nothing we can do but fight. They caught us off guard, that was our mistake, but they will find that their attack on us is the greater error. We will fight for Homeworld and the safety of GSC to the last standing warrior. This is the tribe's way. Greetings everyone and welcome back to PlayView, where today we will be diving into the world of Ranger X, a sci-fi side-scrolling shoot-'em-up for the Sega Genesis, and one of my favorites for the console and the genre in general. We'll start by setting the options, going on heavy, cause, let's face it, I love a challenge, which you may learn down the line. Oddly enough, the game is showing the 6-button control layout, which is strange because I'm not actually using a 6-button controller. Alright, let's dive right in. Our first mission as Ranger X is to take out enemy turrets that are bombarding a council building, and then after we've destroyed those, we need to head into the base and help with evacuation. The enemy is currently attacking it, trying to trying to, I guess, kidnap the councilmen to work in their favor. There's our target. A holographic image of the turrets will be destroying. And let's dive right in by taking these guys out real quick. Such an intrusive start. So one interesting thing about this game right off the bat is our objective is not to reach the end of the stage like so many other games. Instead, we have to destroy the enemy targets, which are indicated on the radar at the top of the screen. Once we're near one, it'll appear as a yellow blip, and the number below tells us how many there are to destroy. So even if we were to reach the end of the stage, it wouldn't matter, because we would have to go back and find any targets we missed. So we are Ranger X, an exosuit built by a tech tribe to repel the Rahuna forces from our planet. I'm accompanied by this little guy named EX Up Indra. I can enter him. He has his own health bar. I can hold down to charge up a jump attack. His basic gun has homing shots, and he's a smaller target, making him pretty useful. And I also have to enter him to switch between my special weapons. We only have 2 at this time, but we'll unlock more as we go. We currently have the Seeker Mine, a generic mine weapon that trails the ground. And we also have a Flame Unit, which fires a short-range but powerful flamethrower, in addition to our basic guns. As you've noticed, I have the ability of flight. There is no jump button in this game. Instead, you use up to jump. But it works really well in this case because of the free flight mechanic. You can just tap the button however you need to achieve whatever level of flight you require. And the heat gauge on the bottom right corner shows us how much energy we have for flight. As you see, it's heating up, and once it gets to the top, we fall. And it only recharges either when you're not pressing anything or when you're on the ground, so you cannot fly indefinitely. The bottom left corner displays our health. Both myself and Indra have a separate health gauge, so I can use him to avoid taking too much damage. But he will not take damage if I am not inside of him, so that's also useful. Next to my special weapon is the weapon energy gauge. Every weapon shares the same power, But one of the more interesting mechanics about this game, which will become much more relevant in later stages, and actually one of my favorite aspects of this game, just because of how it's implemented, is your special weapons are powered by solar energy. So, like, it's not very relevant here because there's plenty of sunlight, but in later stages where sunlight is limited, your special weapons don't charge up as quickly because of the limited energy you're able to absorb. Making some good progress in this stage. It's not too difficult. If you know how to take care of these guys, it's not much of a problem. Those guys, those turrets I'm destroying that are attacking the council building in the background can be tricky on the highest difficulty because when you hit them, they counterattack. And their counterattacks are very powerful and fast on the higher difficulties. But if you know how to handle them, as you've seen, they're not too much of a problem to work around. Only one more left. And once I've destroyed that, I'll become invincible and the stage will end. And there's the commander. I'm actually not sure if that's supposed to be the commander I'm supposed to be saving or the enemy commander. Never been too clear about that, but we arrived to help with the evacuation, being led by Tribe Ranger and Tribe Paladin. But that one man wasn't quite able to escape, and he's captured. And we have our first boss battle, which is perhaps the most pathetic boss, or at least one of the most pathetic bosses in gaming history. You just gotta shoot him. Wait, I'm shooting the wrong part. You gotta shoot his... You wanna shoot out his legs first. And then once I've taken care of... I'm tapping the button frequently to maintain my charge. And then once that happens, I can go into EX up and just hold the fire button. And his bullets will lock onto enemy missiles. And that's all she wrote. So we've completed the first stage. However, the council building was destroyed. And the enemy escaped with somebody who I assume is of great importance, because we'll be spending the rest of the game trying to rescue him. We're now entering the mines. We have to... From here on out, we'll just be going to various Rahuna headquarters, taking out their various bases and loosening their hold on the planet. There's the holographic image for our target of this stage. I assume it's supposed to be some sort of mining device. They're probably searching our planet for minerals. Maybe ones that are rare on their own world. And this stage is where the solar energy mechanic becomes much more relevant. First off, there's turrets down there, but if I take out their power supply right here, it'll disable them. Just an example, I'll fire my flamethrower off a bit, and as you may notice, it's charging painfully slowly. It's one of the more challenging aspects of this stage. Because there's a lack of sunlight, you have less access to your special weapons, and therefore you have to depend a bit more on your basic guns. Another mechanic I forgot to mention is both A and C fire your basic gun, but they're to fire left and right, so if you press A, your character will turn left, and C will turn them right. And then continuing to hold or press the button will fire. That allows you to have much more free-form movement with your flight, because you can, since your facing is based on the direction you're firing and not what button you're pressing, you're able to fly backwards and continue shooting. This stage used to take me forever as a kid, because I used to be obsessed with taking out every single enemy in the stage to get points for 1-ups. So I would sit here and try and kill these stupid things, and it just took the longest time. So I would spend forever in this stage. Come here. Trying to kill these stupid things, as you're seeing here. You know what? This thing's just taking me out. But as you see, I'm out of weapon energy. However, in this stage, hidden are breaks you can make in the ceiling. And if you stand in the resulting pillar of light, your weapon energy will recharge much more quickly. Also, the light kills these nocturnal... Well, you know what they look like. And if you don't, then you don't need to know. Let's delve deeper into these caves. That acid will hurt me, but I can ride EX up, and because he's invincible, I can ride him to avoid the damage. There's more turrets up there. Take out their power supply. I want to go up there because there's a secret. There are a few secret items hidden throughout the stages. You start with only 2 special weapons, but you find other special weapons hidden in the stages. There's one in almost every stage, except stages 1 and 6. Let's use my mines to take this tank out. Another thing, this blue chamber will restore my health, but it also drains special weapon energy to do so. Just another thing you have to manage in regards to keeping your power filled. I got that new weapon, the Seeking Charger. I believe the manual referred it to as. I don't actually own the manual, but I read a PDF before starting this to get an idea of the storyline. And this is an unusual weapon. You can hold the button down and it'll circle these lasers around you. But if there's an enemy within range, it can lock onto them. But it won't lock onto certain enemies, so... It's probably... I liked it a lot as a kid, but nowadays I feel like it's probably the least useful weapon in the game. Especially considering... I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just say the weapon in the next stage basically makes it obsolete. Blow open a hole in the ceiling. Those boulders can damage you, but don't always. This guy can kind of ram through it. Also, with the 6-button controls... Well, I'll explain that in a more opportune situation. For the moment, let's just focus on taking out more of these mining devices. Once it takes enough damage, it uses that energy to fire back, but you can destroy the bullets. They're not too much of a problem, so long as the screen doesn't get filled with too many shots while you're trying to deal with other enemies. These enemies up here are fun because this game does not have collision damage, but if you bump into an enemy, you can kick them. The kick doesn't do any damage, but it can stun the enemies to keep them from being able to fight back efficiently. Let's open this up, get some more power back. There's another one up here. I'm gonna break through this real quick to get to that power generator to take out another turret, I assume it's connected to. Also, give me a moment to recharge some energy and get a little bit of points. This game does offer continues. Once you hit certain point thresholds, you have no lives. There are no extra lives in this game, only continues, which you start with, I believe, 5. And you get another continue, I believe, every 200,000 points, or about that. The first one might be a little bit sooner. And then from there, it's just... you have what you have. Once you run out of continues, it's game over and it's back to the beginning of the game. But I am 100% confident that will not be an issue. I've played... This is one of my most frequently revisited Genesis games. And so even playing on it heavy and commentating, I'm completely confident that I'll be getting through without too much trouble. Although there will occasionally be slow moments, not just from situations like this where I want to recharge my weapon energy, but also later stages do kind of require a bit of stealth, because on the high, especially on heavy, which is the difficulty I chose, because enemies will start to hit very hard and be in situations that are just very disadvantageous to you. Alright. Oh, jeez, I'm stuck. I'm gonna bail. Oh, wow. Okay, don't start with as many continues as I thought. I usually don't die so early, but I pushed my luck. I also usually take this stage a little bit more slowly. The flamethrower, I forgot, gets shorter range as it loses power. EX Indra, you can actually control him if you duck and press diagonally, you can make him move freely, otherwise he'll just be dragged by the edge of the screen. Or if you're using a 6-button controller, you can use the X and Z buttons to move him left and right, which was being shown in the button configuration in the options. Can recharge my energy. I just died, so I don't have to refuel my health as well. Weapon energy will recharge in this stage, I believe, without standing in those pillars, but it's very slow. Those power generators I died to take out was to deal with these turrets. Wasn't really worth losing a life for, because they're not too difficult to deal with normally, but whatever. What's done is done. If I really need to, I can just crunch. I can just really just go balls to the wall and do what I need to succeed. Getting closer to the final 2 targets. The other one is behind all this garbage. Open up the light pillars, and time to start blowing away all this stuff in our way. And you can imagine how long it would have taken to take all these things out. Especially because you can also destroy these rocks and make more of these guys, giving you more points. So if you want to grind for points, if you want to take the time to do that, this is a good place to do so. I don't do so nearly as excessively as I did back in the day, but I also haven't needed to. Since, as opposed to when I was younger and the game was actually a lot more challenging, naturally. Just gonna take a moment to dig through all this garbage. And we're back! Having dug through those eggs, getting a bit more points. We now have this next target to wipe out. Not too difficult with the white weaponry. But this is a dead end, so now we've got to head up and around to the final target. Also, during that break, as you may have noticed, I decided to take a moment to backtrack and refill my health back near the beginning of the stage. Now I've got to take out this turret. The target was actually the power generator for that one, which is something I didn't actually know in advance. I didn't recall that. We have to take this out. Floor's gonna drop out from under us once we do, so we gotta be ready to fly. I believe there's some sort of trap down there. Also takes out the energy for these turrets. But we are now without Indra, because he can't get up here. There will be moments like that in the game where you're separated from your courier entirely, which can make things a little bit more difficult because you lose your homing shot when needed, as well as your second health meter. And you also can't actively switch your special weapons if the need arises. I'm just gonna try and get through this mess. Get to the target, kick these guys out of the way. This actually is not the weapon I want for this, but I'll make it work. A bit of slowdown. Alright, we did it! On to the second boss. After I doomed those little robots down there forever. Now this boss, weirdly enough, used to kind of terrify me as a kid. Not because he's scary to any capacity, but... well, not this part. These guys are just kind of leading up to it. There are additional targets I have to take out, but... there's just something about the boss in this stage that just freaked me out as a kid. I think it was just how fast he moves and how aggressive he is. Just really threw me off and made me not like fighting him. Whenever I got to this point in the game, I would always be nervous and sometimes not even want to play the game because of it. Just got an extra continue. So I would sometimes just not play the game strictly because of this upcoming part. Which is silly, but, you know, kids can be dumb at times. this thing. Speaking of which, I did not switch to my weapon. Okay. Go focus on these missiles while just shooting him. Not too difficult, but I destroyed part of him and now he's changing tactics. This is where I want to be. So we have to destroy all his parts. And every time we do, this is not a good situation. And every time we do, his attack will change. I want to be near those platforms though for the upcoming ones. This is the easiest to deal with. Just gotta keep backing away. Now let's see if I can... Nope. This is not a good situation to be in. See, this is kind of what made me, as a kid, I didn't like this. Granted, he shoots a lot slower on the lower difficulties. I do not have a... come here. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. No. He'll back up, fortunately, though, if I chase him, because he'll try and keep a consistent distance. Don't know how that didn't hit me. I really just want to get back to those platforms. There we go. I don't have the weapon I want, but... There we go. This is what I want for this guy. Ow! Now I can just... If I just hold the button, it'll circle around and waste and not be very efficient, but if I keep tapping and releasing, it'll reset the initial position so I can fight him. This part especially, this is the part that just, I don't know, just freaked me out as a kid, is how he just rushes at you like that. And not having the tactical sense to do this, I just had the hardest time with him just jumping around trying to dodge him, even though on lower difficulties he has a wind-up. I don't know, I'm trying to rationalize irrational paranoia from childhood while fighting this guy that now is just a complete joke. And there you have it! And with the second stage complete, we'll end things off here, and I'll see you on the next episode. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribing if you enjoyed this. And as I just said, because I did that out of order, I'll see you next time. Let's just dive into it. We no longer have Indra. We now have EX up Eos. I don't want his bullets firing. I also want to be shooting out these windows, but that's extremely vague, and you'd have to piece together the information just right in order to learn from that. This is when the game's just intensity starts ramping up the purple ball. We're moving on to stage 4, which has a bit of a story behind it. Why am I not using the bird? This is bad.